um, that means that they could write a check for $1 million and the check would clear. The second kind of millionaire is an asset millionaire. In other words, they own $1 million of or more of equity, according to Paul Zane Pilzer, one of the nation's foremost financial economists and financial forecasters. Over the next 10 years, 10 million new millionaires will be created and developed in this country alone. That's right, 10 million new millionaires in the next 10 years. My question is, or to you is, will you be one of them? An asset millionaire is the kind of one of millionaire he's speaking of. That's a person who has over $1 million in net worth. That means that if you own $2 million worth of real estate and you have $1 million in equity, you don't owe money for, then you are an asset millionaire. You own $1 million in assets. You could also explain it like this: if you add up all of your liabilities and subtract them from the total of all of your assets, if the difference is over $1 million, you are an asset millionaire. Let's talk about a virtual millionaire. A virtual millionaire is my favorite because it's one of the easiest ways to become a millionaire. You can become a virtual millionaire in less than 12 months. Before I explain what a virtual millionaire is, let me ask you this: working like you are working right now, making the amount of money that you are making, doing what you are doing for a living, how long would it take you to become a liquid millionaire if you have 100% of your income, if you saved 100% of your income? So, how long would it take you? And if you do the math, or if you were to stop and do the math, how much time that it takes you? How much time would it take you? Um, so, let's say it takes you 10 years. Let me help you understand exactly how long it would take you. If you make 25,000 a year, you you save every dime of it and don't pay taxes on it, which I don't recommend. It would take you 40 years to become a cash millionaire. If you save all of your money at zero interest, I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody who is saving 100% of what they make. Let's say you've got, mm, let's say you've got to make at least 50,000 to save 25,000 a year. So if you make 50,000 a year and you save half of it, then 40 years from now, you could be a millionaire. Let's say that you make 100,000 a year and you save half of that, or 50,000. It would take you 20 years. Don't forget to calculate the taxes into the equation. When you start making 100,000 a year, you will be taxed at 30 to 50% tax bracket. Let's say that you are in 30% tax bracket. That means that you are $70,000 net money coming, or that you have $70,000 net money coming in. You're saving 50,000, which means you are living off of 20,000 a year. It would still take you 20 years to become a cash millionaire. You can see why most people never become a cash millionaire. Most people never become a liquid millionaire. If you're going to become an asset millionaire, it doesn't take nearly as long, especially if you have good good credit. You can go out and buy some real estate properties and over time accumulate some equity because of appreciation, because of paying down the mortgages. You can accumulate some pretty good equity over time. Let's say you could become an asset millionaire in 10 years through real estate or some other kind of investment. Everybody would agree that's good, but that doesn't necessarily give you cash flow. Cash flow is king. Positive cash flow is really what you want. You want your money coming in faster than it's going out. In fact, you want to be a supersonic positive cash flow. You want to be in hyperspeed positive cash flow. You want to be in turbocharged positive cash flow. You want the money coming in 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, even 10 times faster than you're spending it. There is not a person reading this book right now who would disagree with that statement. You want your money coming in a whole lot faster than it's going out. You may be wondering, how do I accomplish this? That's a great question. You do it by becoming what I call a virtual millionaire. So here's the definition. We've waited a couple of pages now for it, but we've got it. Here's why I call it that. If you had $1 million invested in 6%, at 6%, the $1 million would give you $60,000 a year in cash flow without ever touching the $1 million. 6% of a million is 60,000. If you divide that 60,000 by 12 months, it would give you $5,000 a month. So if you had $1 million invested at 6%, you could live off that interest. It would pay you $60,000 a year, even though you would be a millionaire. Your millionaire lifestyle would mean you wouldn't have to work. you'd net about $60,000 a year. That's $1 million a year lifestyle. What I call a virtual millionaire is someone who builds a business that produces at least $5,000 a month for them that they don't work for. When you've got a business that generates $5,000 a month in passive income, that's when you are what I call a virtual millionaire, and you are living the virtual millionaire reality. Let me ask you this: which would you take? Which would take you longer to do? Save $1 million so you could live off of 6%, or develop a business that pays you $5,000? As soon as you spent $1 of that money, you would no longer be a millionaire. However, if you invested it and you got 60,000, you would still be a millionaire. You could still have a lifestyle where you didn't have to work for money. Your question right now may be, what kind of business would start that could you start that you don't have to work, that could pay you $5,000 a month? So we need to really highlight that, because that is the the questions that we should be asking, right? Actually, all of the businesses I mentioned earlier could generate that kind of income. You could start a network marketing business, you could start an internet marketing business, you could do real estate, you could buy a parking lot, you could buy a laundromat or vending machines or a car wash. Any kind of business that does not require your presence in order for you to get paid is the kind you want to start. Then you can be a virtual millionaire. I don't want you to think that I'm saying that becoming a virtual millionaire doesn't require any work, because it does require work to get there. However, once you have gotten there, that is when the income comes in without you going out to get it. I want you to have a goal, a dream, and a desire to live the virtual millionaire reality. On your way to becoming a liquid millionaire, you know what's better than being a virtual millionaire? Being a virtual multimillionaire is better than being a virtual millionaire. If you can build a business that generates $10,000 a month without you going to work, you have literally built a business that is worth $2 million. If you can generate $15,000 a month in passive income that you don't have to go out and directly earn, then you have just built a business that's worth $3 million. I think you get the picture. If you've got a business that you don't have to touch for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, yet month after month it pays you $15,000 a month, you literally have a business that is worth $3 million. It's the exact same thing as having $3 million invested at 6%. On the next page, let's look at what your financial house would look like in this situation. So here's a look of how our windows would shift. You can see in this illustration that your IPA window is the biggest window in your financial house. Your income window is the second largest window. When you get to this point, your outgo window and your WRL window are so small you almost don't even notice them anymore. That is such a cool concept, because that is how you can live like a millionaire on your way to becoming one. That's the virtual millionaire reality. You want to become a VM instead of focusing on becoming a VP. All right, so I really like this picture, and I think this picture changed my mind about a lot of things, and puts things in focus for me. The idea that we can grow our IPA window, and that becomes the biggest window, as opposed to, as opposed to having the outgo window and the WRL window a lot bigger. We talked about those in the earlier chapters. All right, you guys, I hope you have a good Monday. I hope you have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.